Hello everyone, this side Chavi. Welcome back to this channel. Today we will continue with chapter 4 Executive from the book Indian Constitution at Work. This is part 3rd of this chapter. But before I proceed, I request you all do like, share and subscribe this channel to remain updated with all the latest updates. Today we will start with parliamentary executive in India. Beta, when the Constitution of India was written, India already had some experience of running the parliamentary system under the Acts of 1919 and 1935. And this experience had shown that in the parliamentary system, the executives can be effectively controlled by the representative of the people. This is a very important factor for choosing the parliamentary executive system in India. The second point, the makers, means the members of the Constituent Assembly, wanted to ensure that government would always remain responsible and accountable to the people. In the third point, the makers of the Indian Constitution had a kind of doubt that if they have presidential system in the country, it creates dangers of personality cult, means overpower. And because of all these points, the constitution makers adopted the parliamentary system of executive for the governments, both at the national and state level in our country. So, beta, according to the parliamentary executive system, there is a president who is the formal head of the state. That is why I have written in front of the president, he is the head of the state. Even it is said that in our political system, he worked as a nominal executive. But even in our country, the President of India is like the Queen of Britain, whose functions are to a large extent just ceremonial. The third one is he supervises overall functioning of all the executives in the country, so that they can operate in harmony to achieve the objectives of the state. Because the president is not elected directly by the people, but the members of parliament and members of the legislative assembly elect the president, and he is elected for a period of 5 years. According to Article 74 of the Constitution, there shall be a Council of Ministers with the Prime Minister at the head to aid and advise him. Because the President has certain kind of wide-ranging powers like executive, legislative, judicial, emergency. For exercising these powers, in reality, the President actually needs the advice of the Council of Ministers. There are certain discretionary powers which are enjoyed by the President in our country, like all government activities take place in the name of the President. The President has a right to be informed of all important matters and deliberations of the Council of Ministers. Beta, all major appointments like Chief Justice of India, Judges of the Supreme Court, High Court, Governor, appointment of the Prime Minister, all made by the President. Look, in the appointment of the Prime Minister, you should know that the President appoints the Prime Minister and he basically chooses the person as a PM whosoever is having a majority in the Lok Sabha. But at the time of the coalition government, the President has a right to decide whom to appoint as the PM. But all international treaties and agreements made in the name of the President. The President also has veto power by which he can withhold or refuse to give approval to bills other than money bill passed by the Parliament. And the President can keep this bill pending with him without any time limit. This gives the president an informal power to use the veto in a very effective manner, and this is called as pocket veto sometimes. So this is all about the president and the role of president in the parliamentary executive. Please learn this carefully. So beta, this is all for today, and in the last, this is your home task. In this, I have given you two questions, question number 1 and question number 2. Please do this work in your register. For any query, you can ask me in the comment section. Otherwise, you can ask me in the online class. Stay safe and fit. Thank you, everyone.